So as I cruise slowly in the Zodiac, I do see whales surfacing ahead. I will talk in the mic, and I'm glad that we've got good sound now. I won't go in an area where we'll lose feed. And of course, hopefully we'll get a few visits on the underwater cam. So this summer, it's been a very, very strange one, and it started off with a tragedy, actually. So I left British Columbia. I just started running a company, whale watching on Vancouver Island, and I did a month of that before I came to Churchill, and that was already arranged. I wanted to set up the whale watching. I hired a driver and office manager, and the season carried out beautifully, and I left it July 11th. July 12th, I found myself sitting in the Churchill airport waiting to get on the plane, and I bumped into a family that I had met last year, a family that had visited Churchill. So mum, dad, and a lovely 5-year-old girl called Danica and a 4-year-old boy called Connor, mum and dad, and they were visiting my dear friends, Belinda, who you've met, and her husband, and they were coming for an adventure here in Churchill. So I flew with them on the plane and got excited about seeing the belugas, talked about that. And the following day, a tragic accident happened. A canoe capsized with father, son and daughter, and 2 beautiful dogs belonging to Belinda. You've met Maggie. And from that accident, the little girl, little 5-year-old Danica, passed. They were in the water for 30 minutes or so, and she was hypothermic when she got out, and she did not make it. Her younger brother did. 1 dog was found, Maggie, who you've met, and the other dog, Ringo, was not. This was the first day in Churchill for this family and for me, and I was busy at the time getting the beluga boat set up and ready to go. It was a dark day. I was at the hospital with the family and my friends, waiting for the news of how the kids were doing, and it was shortly after midnight that we found out that Danica didn't make it. The last place that I wanted to be was in Churchill, and I didn't want to be on the river. The belugas in the river had no joy in my heart anymore. It was a very, very sad, dark time in Churchill. The whole town, whether they knew the family or not, were really feeling the loss. And it was an accident. There was no one to blame. It was an accident. Wind picked up. It was a cold, cold day. A canoe capsized, and it was a survival situation. And 3 souls survived and 2 did not. So as you can imagine, it was a dark time on the river. Now, the first day that we were on the river, I think it was July, the first day that we were broadcasting, I don't think it was launched. It was really hard to be on the river, to try to find joy, even though the belugas would bring joy any day, any time, but not that day. But the beautiful thing about that particular day, the first day the beluga boat spent on the water, I got a call from Belinda, and she told me that Connor had woken up from a coma and was alive and well, and he survived. So he was the little miracle that survived that tragic accident. So one day we were out on the river, and some of you saw Belinda and I throwing flowers. Well, that was because that was first time Belinda was on the river and she needed to do something to wean herself back on the water. So we took flowers and went in front of the area where the accident happened and released flowers. And today we did the same, because it's Danica's 6th birthday. She's turning 6 today, but she's not here to celebrate that with us. But we were releasing flowers while the whale surfaced, and Maggie was with us, and it was absolutely beautiful. So there's a family that's missing their little daughter. And my dear friends that are missing their little dog called Ringo. So think about them. And that's the beginning of the summer. And every day I came out, you kind of move through the emotions of losing somebody and being involved in a very sad, tragic accident. But day after day, the belugas surrounded the boat and surrounded us and vocalized. And their presence was certainly soothing and healing. And it's something I didn't want to share at the time because I wanted to respect the privacy of the family. I missed a day on the river because I went down to the funeral. And that was very important to me, and I really appreciated Explore and everyone supporting. And that was really important to be there for my friends and be there for the family and say my own farewell to this beautiful little girl who loved belugas, sang Baby Beluga at the top of her lungs. When she was on the river and in her home. So that was the beginning of the summer. And yes, it's interesting how you move forward from that, but you have to. And I can only think of the struggles that the parents and little Connor have every single day, having a house empty without a 5-year-old, beautiful, happily spirited, kind, fun, loving little girl. So it's been an interesting summer with that kind of beginning, but I'm glad that I've fallen back in love with the river and the whales. And like the ocean that's taken many lives, and rivers and lakes that have taken many lives, we as humans place ourselves on these stretches of water in our crafts that are man-made. And we sometimes Mother Nature creates situations with a storm, with a fast current, with cold temperatures, and we are surprised and maybe not prepared. It's a lesson in ultimately living your life to your fullest. Live your dreams, follow your passions. Respect nature, prepare yourselves when going out in nature, but don't be afraid of it. Just take care of it and respect it. Life is precious. we know each other, and I really appreciate your kind words. We're drifting now in the current, that strong current that leaves, that takes us and the belugas out into the Hudson Bay, Cape May. The belugas. We'll play it by ear how long we spend out there. It is a little bit sketchy. I do have to be off the water as the tide drops. So let's have our last 10 minutes with the belugas and then we'll zip back in. And I'm hoping the live feed remains. Stand by. And thanks again for your very kind words. It was actually nice to share and get that out there. And it's part of my closure to this day. And this season, it's all about Danica and her birthday today. And it was by accident that our last day was on her birthday. But I think it was a perfect symbol of closing a door and opening our arms to another. And just remembering that sweet little girl. Saying that the whales, more whales are. It's like they're leaving. It's time for us to go. It is time for us to move on as they move on. Goodbye, belugas. Safe travels during the winter. Look forward to seeing you in the spring when you come into the warmer waters, the sheltered waters of the Churchill River estuary, where new lives will be born, new food will be foraged and fed upon, rejuvenated, and our hearts will be filled with your company. They literally are. The more whales I've seen are out here in the Hudson Bay, out of the river. It's a strong ebb current now, sending us out towards the bay. The strong speed of the current. Oh, I want to avoid going in and ending this all. It's so beautiful today. The blue sky, the blue sea, the sun, warmth, how lovely. I just want to make sure that you can hear me, you can see me, you can see the surrounding area. And still looking for belugas. So give me a thumbs up and let me continue. Square miles, a huge basin that touches on 3 provinces and 1 territory. Right now we're literally in Nunavut. Once we're in the Hudson Bay, we're in the territory of Nunavut. And a number of communities that live in the north, that thrive off the land, that hunt on the ice. And it's all just beyond here. We've got Eskimo Point, where we've had so many sightings of polar bears this summer because of that beluga carcass over the other side. We've certainly visited and looked and photographed and enjoyed beautiful polar bears living freely on the land as they should, not interfering with us, but us having a window into their lives in the summer frolicking in the water, and sparring and play fighting and cooling off and lounging on rocks. What a spectacular scene it was to see them in action amongst the terns that were nesting on the rocks, probably being disturbed by the bears. Really neat activity at Eskimo Point. And then, of course, we spent the majority of our time down in the Churchill River estuary, where it ebbs and flows with the current. Sometimes we journeyed up to Mosquito Point, deeper into the river where we lost visibility, but many whales were found, and that was the time that perhaps even calves were being born the same day, the same stretch of water that we were out on. Just picture that and think about that. That's pretty special to be so close. And of course, the many calves that we saw this year. That was a really neat observation that we've all made, that number of small newborn calves. And our hope is that they leave the river. Perhaps some of them have left already. They leave the river, head out to sea, live their first winter out into the sea ice, learning the ways of the beluga. What a beautiful thought, especially when they survive and return the following season. It's certainly been, this is my second year. Wow, I'm so attached to this boat, to the belugas, of course, and of course to you all, and I really appreciate your support this summer. It's just a very neat community of people that come together on the beluga boat, whether you're sitting here or you're at home and you're getting the live feed. It really is such a unique opportunity that people of like minds are brought together. That's a real highlight for me, despite the fact that I love the belugas. The highlight really is the community that comes together. Working with the cam ops, such a treat to work with people that I've never met, but we're such a team. I'm at the helm, you're at the helm of the camera, and such a neat, again, unique opportunity of working together to try to bring people beluga, as much of beautiful beluga as possible. We've got some really great ideas for next season. I would love to see more live streaming going into schools, arranged dates with schools, and of course citizen science, fabulous start to that concept, and it's going to get even better. And I would love to see some images being taken from the boat and having a photographer capturing identification markings on belugas and really try to form a catalogue of this population. We are here enjoying them, and it's our job to protect them, so I'm certainly working on that. I'm really wanting to be a part of the community and working to enjoy these whales and protect them at the same time, as well as enjoy the river and be a part of bringing boating safety into the community more so than what it is. The accident certainly has brought to mind things that we could do to educate people a little more clearly on the dangers of this river. And it certainly is a dangerous place. The water is cold. It's just above freezing. And we don't last long in this cold, cold water. I wish every boat that ventures out into the Hudson Bay and into the river had careful eyes watching. I know I certainly feel safe, but I'm still very, very safe and careful when I'm on the water on my own. I have utmost respect for this very powerful place and the elements that we have from weather, from ocean, dynamic species. So it's time for me to head in. I'm kind of in a holding pattern here, which is quite nice actually. I'm not drifting any more this direction. I'm sort of staying central. It's like that strong current stops right at that tidal line, which we were in earlier, the bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. I'm hoping that you're catching all of this. I just want to wish you all the best for the rest of your year before we meet again. come next beluga season at July of next year, 2017. I just hope that whatever you do, wherever you are, that you find peace, contentment, happiness, and I hope you have a chance to live your dreams, however big, however small, however tiny they are. Just live your dreams. Look what we have visiting. That's really cool. Oh, you're going to join the farewell? Your timing is perfect. Please come. This is awesome. I'm watching belugas swim right underneath us now. It's just gliding so effortlessly. I didn't hear any vocals, but I saw just shadows of white pass beneath us. How wonderful, how perfect. I'm going to turn the cams off. This is really hard to do. Let me just wait first before we see what happens here with these whales. But I can see their footprints after surfacing. Isn't that perfect? There we were just saying farewell, and a pod just comes and passes beneath us, heading out in the direction where they're supposed to go. How absolutely fitting. Meant to be. How absolutely fitting. Meant to be. So I will read all of your comments. I'm going to get the boat out of the water before we lose water. I look forward to reading all your comments, and I will also write something. I'll do a blog. I'll do a final blog, and I'll also feature a comment, and maybe I'll give you an update as to how the pack up and clean up is going. So you'll still hear from me. And then I hope to see you in BC on the live Orca Lab cams off Hanson Island, Johnson Strait, northern Vancouver Island. And we'll post a photo of the boat to look out for. And I'll talk to Paul Spong and see if I can grab a mic at some stage. Wouldn't that be fun? And say hi. Maybe we can arrange a live chat. That would be really cool. Polar bear cam when I return during polar bear season, and hopefully there'll be a chance to touch base then as well. So this is not farewell. This is see you in another setting, see you in another environment where we are then surrounded by a different animal that also touches our heart, that we also need to protect, live gently on this land for the sake of all of the beings that share this planet. We will be meeting again another place, another time. Look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.